All right, so remember I said last lecture, we explained the formula of humanity, but we still have this open question, right? The formula of humanity seems to do a much better job of explaining why moral rules are important than the formula of universal law. And now think about it this way, right? You it gives us an explanation. Human beings have this ability to act for reasons, to make choices, what are and aren't good reasons. And that seems true, right? We can do this. And also think of this, right? You almost certainly think that your choices should be respected. You have this ability, other people should respect the choices you make. They should not use you as a thing or a tool to their own ends, right? Kant says every person thinks of themselves in this way as an end in themselves, right? Well, okay, if you think of yourself, and there might be some cases of people, who don't, but, practically everyone does, right? I'm going to bet that you all do, right? And if you say to someone as a charge for why they did something bad, you used me, that has a lot of punch, right? That all seems very commonsensical, very intuitive. Kant says, well, look, you think of yourself this way. Every other human being, or pretty much every other human being, has this same ability to act for reasons, make choices. They think of themselves the same way. If you think that you deserve a certain sort of dignity, a certain sort of treatment, everyone else does as well, because everything that's true of you that might make you deserve respect, deserve not to be treated as a mere means, is true of every other single person. Now, you guys might be saying, well, maybe there are some human beings who don't have this ability. Okay, yes, we will come back to this. It's an issue. What will Kant say about children or the insane or the severely demented? We'll talk about that next lecture, but I want to get this all on the table first. Anyway, the issue I want to deal with before that is, what do you do with this fact that you have two different formulations of the categorical imperative? You know, how do they relate to each other, and when do you use each one? Do you use the formula of universal law sometimes and the formula of humanity other times, or what? And what if they give you different answers? It seems to be a huge problem. Kant's answer is that the formula of humanity and the formula of universal law are different ways of putting the same fundamental idea or thought. There's some debate on this. I actually think, though, that this is true, but the formula of humanity, I think, is the more important of the two. And I think, when we understand what the formula of universal law is, we need to understand it in terms of the formula of humanity. It gives us the reason, the formula of humanity does, why these moral rules are important. Now think of this, though. You might be saying, okay, how in the world are these two things the same principle? Think about this, right? When something fails the formula of universal law, it often gets at the way something uses others as a mere means. And it often gets at it in a way that might be hidden from us otherwise. Let me give you guys an example. When I lie to somebody to get money, yes, I am very clearly using that person as a mere means. But here's something Kant would add that might kind of disappear if you didn't have the formula of universal law in there. You are also using all the other honest people who tell the truth, who take responsibility, as a mere means. Why? You being able to maybe successfully lie to get money depends on the fact most people don't do that. So if you lie to get money, not only are you using the person you lie to as a mere means, you are in an indirect but very real way using all the honest people who tell the truth as a mere means, because you being able to lie to get money depends on the fact most people generally tell the truth. Or think of two other cases, right? Think about riding the subway without paying, which we talked about with formula universal law, and cheating on a test, which I think I also touched on briefly. Both of these also involve freeloading, right? You know, if everybody tried to ride the subway without paying, either there wouldn't be a subway, or more likely they would just take measures to make sure everybody had to pay. Well, you being able to maybe ride the subway for free depends on the fact that other people don't, that they do what they're supposed to, they pay their fair share. And so Kant would say, look, you are freeloading on them. If you ride the subway without paying, you are using them as a mere means. And the formula of universal law shows you how that is. Or let's take one final case. What about when somebody cheats on a test? Or cheats in a class otherwise, uses Chat GPT or something like that. Again, no one could will that everyone do this, because the very fact that grades mean anything at all depends on the fact that most people don't do this. If everyone tried to, well, either one of two things would happen. Either a good grade, like an A, would be meaningless, employers or whoever would see it and be like, okay, I don't know. Doesn't mean that he's actually smart or hardworking. Doesn't mean that she has any knowledge of the subject, just means that they're decent enough at cheating, right? They can cut and paste into the robot really well. Or more likely, what would happen is we would take means so nobody could ever cheat, right? Every single test is in a room where the professor is looking over your shoulder, right? Give up your phones before you walk in, probably even record the whole thing. The fact that some people could cheat and their grades mean anything depends on all the honest people who don't cheat. So, without them, that wouldn't be possible. Kant would say that shows in a very real way, the way that this fails the formula of universal law shows how and why it uses others as mere means. So hopefully that makes a bit better sense to you guys how the two formulations, formula of universal law, formula of humanity, relate to each other. Next lecture, we will talk about these borderline or hard cases. What would Kant say about people who don't seem to have this ability to act for reasons or make choices? How are they going to figure in Kant's moral theory, if at all?